let's, I guess, start. I mean, some of this will be things that we've already captured in snippets, but I think probably the thing that's most top of mind for me is like just kind of the why now, like what's the epiphany here that's happening? So can you talk a
hmm
little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think over the last, 5+ years, there's been this big shift to you need to do paid ads. You need to be throwing money into PPC, whether it's Facebook or Google or YouTube display ads. And everybody was doing that, and it was working really well for a lot of businesses and a lot of models. But then there was just some shift over the last year or year and a half, and ads are not working the way that they were for small businesses, especially. If you have a
Mhm.
small budget, it's just not going to give you the return on your investment that you might have been seeing in the past few years. And so,
So
like
small
now
being
is,
like what?
sorry, small budget. Is that what you're
Yeah. So
referencing?
small like what?
Like a few $1,000s or less,
Okay.
which is what I'm used to seeing small businesses spend
Yeah. I mean,
on
that's
a people.
most. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have larger businesses spending 10K plus on a monthly basis, and they're probably seeing more of a return. But for the smaller budgets, it limits your creative, it limits your audience, factors such as like bots nowadays that can create clicks on your ads. So now you're spending money on bots that are clicking on your ads. Like it's just all kind of having this compounding effect, compounding
Yeah.
negative effect.
So okay, so let's kind of get back to the what your original line of thinking there, though, before I pulled you off on budget.
Just the fact that what has been working for most small businesses in the last few years to get them some new leads into their business is not working as well anymore. And it's
Yeah.
wasting their time and their money and their energy. And they really need to be focusing on the fundamentals of marketing, which is their total online presence, the way that they show up, their business shows up online when people are looking for what they do and the service that they offer.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of like the slap in the face is we were doing this thing that we'd been told to do, and it worked pretty well. And I mean, I think everybody, at least our audience, seems to be pretty aware. Like it was way easier 5 years ago. Like you could just
Mm-hmm.
throw some shit out there, and then it got a little harder and a little harder, and then all of a sudden, like maybe a year ago, it was like, whoa, this is a fucking riddle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, people are still there's still a lot of money being pissed away. Um, so yeah, I think I would say that that makes sense to everybody that as to why like okay, this is kind of coming to a head.
Mm-hmm.
um, then you mentioned so you keep saying a total online presence, and I guess I so in our conversations it's I guess there was a bit of an epiphany for me, or maybe like a misunderstanding or misconception about like online presence, what it was, or how to do all that stuff well. So kind of, if you don't mind, like go kind of ground zero there, and here's what it is, here's what people tend to think it is, so we can see like where there's a contrast.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna start with what people think it is. From my experience, they think it's their website or their social media or their Google profile. They think if they have one or two or three of those things that their total online presence is solid. But that is not the case. Your online presence or your total online presence consists of, yes, your website, but your SEO as well as your content. And content, not just meaning the blogs that you're posting, but the content on your site, the blogs that you post, the social media content you're posting, videos you're putting out, your Google reviews, your reviews across other platforms such as Yelp and et cetera. So it's all of these things. And the three main components are your website SEO and your content, but each of those core elements has multiple components or is multifaceted. And you have to make sure that you're accounting for all of those other little pieces because they all come together to create that compounding effect for that, creates higher rankings and makes you more visible when people are searching for you online.
Okay. Yep. I have a follow-up question for that. I need to change something on my recording here. There we go. Okay. Okay. So you've probably explained that to me, I mean, more than once for sure. And it gets a little bit clearer every time. And I'm trying to figure out like a good way to be able to articulate it. Like, I think I get it. I don't know that I can explain it very well. But you tell me if this is kind of on the mark. So I think in general, people look at it like kind of like your report card, where you get grades like A through F. And it's like, if you do some things, you're getting a lower grade. If you do more things, you get a little higher grade. And if you do more things than that, you get a high grade. But somewhere you're going to be like, you're going to be a graded student, A, B, C, D, or F. And if you're okay being a C student, you're okay being a C student. Like, you do what you need to do to stay there. That's how I look at it. But what I'm picking up now is that it's more like pass fail, that you either do them all and you pass, or you don't do them all and you pretty much fail.
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly because there's specific pieces of your online presence that probably hold more weight than the others. But what those pieces are is kind of hard to know, because you can't get a straightforward answer when you're looking online for what holds the most, value when it comes to your online presence. So I would say that, yeah, it's more like your second point. Like, you either pass or you fail. You either have all the components or you don't. And if you don't have it and your competitors do, you are definitely not going to outrank them. And they are going to show up ahead of you in the search results, and people are going to find them much more easily when they're searching relevant, services or products.
Okay. So the last thing that you said there, I think is pretty important. And like, if you choose something to not do and somebody else does it and they do everything, like the entire total online presence, then you lose. So, okay. So then let's talk about, like, I mean, how hard is it, right?
To do all of it?
Yeah.
I just think it takes a little bit of time and effort. Most of it is not super expensive. It's just a matter of getting like the foundation in place and then just maintaining it. Obviously things like content are a little bit more robust and take a little bit more time and effort. But I mean, most business owners who are super passionate about their business and what they do can produce content fairly easily, and then just, have somebody who helps bring it home for them and post it. Not to get into the weeds with it, but yeah, I just think that now I'm losing my train of thought.
But so why don't they do that?
Why don't they do it?
Yeah.
I think one, they don't know. Like, they just don't know that that's what they need to be doing. And they don't understand the importance of it. And also, people, like, marketing in general is changing all the time. The trends are always changing, and there's always this next big thing you need to be doing. But what it comes down to is you need to have the foundation of your business built out online, and you need to be maintaining it consistently, and doing it well.
Yep. Okay. So they don't know what to do, which makes, I mean, like, I can totally relate to that. It's always been kind of a blurry, like, online presence has been kind of a blurry thing. Like, nobody's there, from what I've seen. They're not nearly as much like sizzle to that as there is to like paid traffic. And so there aren't as many experts or even like, reliable resources for building an online presence. And it's always been like kind of the stepchildish thing. And the only way that I know have known anybody to like get a full complete picture is like it had to be self-directed. Like, you had to decide, I'm going to go out and I'm going to learn all this shit on my own and figure it out. There's not really a whole resource or somebody that's going to say like, okay, here are all the things we got to do. They may show up and tell you there are some things that you need to do, and they'll tell you that it's the most important thing. So they can sell you an expensive website or, but not like across the platforms. Like, this is you online. This is your like online business card, right? It's your like your persona. Yeah. Okay. So
I,
go ahead.
well, I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head. Like you can hire an agency, but the chances are most of them are not focused on a total online presence. Most of them are focused on components of it, like building you a nice, lead converting website or managing your social media profiles. But there aren't a lot of agencies that will kind of do all of those things and take them all into account and do them well. And
Mhm.
so I think that that's part of like why people just don't know that there's this thing that in its entirety that needs to be addressed and taken care of and maintained. And yeah, so I think that's a piece of why people just don't know because they're not being told it.
Yeah.
They're being told they need
So
this one thing here and there.
yeah. So it reminds me of something else. I might have to like edit this out. I don't know, but in my coaching college, used to always talk to us about like completeness and thorough, like the little things, attention to detail. And he would talk about, we're like 18 to 22-year-old guys, and so he was always like a dating analogy or something. And he's like, you would buy the nicest clothes, you would have be all decked out. You would have a big date planned out, and then do something stupid like forget to brush your teeth. Like you'd spend $1,000 to get all put together the perfect date, and then leave out 2 cents worth of toothpaste. And like the penalty for that is a lot more than 2 cents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
what this reminds me of. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't do you. I mean, I guess kind of like football. It doesn't do you any good to go 99 yards if that last one was the one you needed.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's actually a perfect analogy. And I would put it into like blogs. So you write blogs for your website, but if you're not optimizing them for the keywords that people, use to find your business, then you are literally just wasting time writing
Mm-hmm.
content that's never really going to be found. So,
Yep.
and same with like the Google profile. You can create this beautiful website and it can be, good for converting leads. But if you don't have a Google profile and you're a local brick and mortar, like that is, I mean, Google is basically taking over the world. And if you're not using their tools to promote your business, especially when they're free, then you're missing out for sure.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like, so let's use your examples about the blog and the Google profile. Even if you do everything right on the blog, but you don't do the profile, you're still not going to show up everywhere you should show up, right?
No,
Yeah.
no.
See,
Those,
so like, it's just all these things are intertwined just enough so that you have to pay attention to all of them.
mm-hmm,
And most people don't know what all of them mean. And
mm-hmm.
then it's how to address them. But like, this is why this has been so intriguing to me, and like what we've learned that you've been doing for FR and how well that's worked, that I think we need to share it with like all of our CPs. And I mean, we can share it with our entire audience, but because it's not actually the riddle that you think that I thought it was. And it doesn't require some type of sorcery. Like really, I mean, what we've done is we just needed somebody to be able to say like, here are all the things that have to be addressed. And that's what you
Mm-hmm.
did. And then addressing them wasn't hard, but
Mm-hmm.
we would never have figured out what that entire list is. Like we might have done some things on our own, but we would not have like covered the totality. And that would have left us like a yard short, which is far more expensive than just 1 yard.
Yeah. Yeah. And, some of the components are more technical than most business owners would want to get into, but
Mm-hmm.
there's people that know what needs to be done. It's just a matter of you being aware of the fact that this thing that needs addressed. So I need to find the person to address it for me.
Yep.
And, that part's actually pretty easy, but it's having the wherewithal, just knowing like this thing needs to be handled or taken care of. Otherwise my online presence is not, full. I'm not
Yep.
at 100%. I don't have all the boxes checked.
So do we have any resources, or do we have anything that we could give them that tells them, oh, like here are all the things, or can we
Yeah.
make an assessment or something?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. There is a total online presence audit, which is basically like a 95-point checklist for all of the pieces that go into a total online presence. And again, like I said, some of it's kind of technical, but in general, it groups, the different components together so you can get a kind of high level view of these are the pieces where I really need to improve my online presence. These are the pieces that need attention. And then these are the aspects or the parts that I've got figured out. And that comes with basically like a score, and there's assessments you can run for those.
Okay. Is this what you're using with us?
Yeah. Yep. It's it's informing me on where we need to improve our online presence and how we're going to do that.
Okay. Is it 95 points really?
If you count all of the things that this report is checking, it comes to about 95 points. Yeah. Yeah. And that can seem overwhelming, but like I said, the report's actually pretty straightforward. I mean, it might benefit a business owner, to have somebody kind of walk them through it a little bit, but just a high level view is really all they need. A basic understanding of, okay, these are the major factors that play a part in my ranking. This is what we're going to do to fix it, or this is what needs to be done to fix it.
Yeah. Well, so the reason that I reacted like that to the 95 is not because it's overwhelming. It's because I didn't see 95. You condensed it down. Like what I got wasn't 95, but I knew that there was a lot more informing, like, the high level view that I got. Yeah. So.
Yeah. When I talk to clients, or I try not to go too deep into things that they probably don't care about and probably don't have the brain space for. Like, they've got enough going on running their business. So, but yeah, I try to condense it into the big highlights.
So we can, So then what we can use this tool to, it does like the diagnostic and make, some recommendations, but even though at 95 points doesn't sound digestible, it's made digestible.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and it does. It gives you a score that's like you said earlier, like pass or fail. Like, you either are at a decent score or you're not. And if you're not, you need to figure out the ways to get to that, passing score. Or if you're at that score and you want to just go a little higher and maybe beat out the competition even more, then you can, implement the recommendations it gives you to get a higher score.
Okay. So are you able to see yourself compared to your competition?
Yeah.
Okay. So is the goal to just be higher than them, or is the goal to be at whatever the highest is?
I mean, I think everybody's ultimate goal is to be the highest, but yeah, I would say just you want to at least be ranking side by side with them, or you want to be just above them. I mean, that would be ideal. And then from there, at least you've leveled the playing field for your business. Now it's a matter of the person, the customer experience.
Yeah. Oh, so let me ask my question a little bit differently. So if I'm trying to assess how much do I need to do, right? What's my goal for my score? Is my goal to be A+, or is my goal just to be higher than everybody, like my competition?
I would say higher than the competition would be the number one goal.
Okay. But if they're B's and C's, and if I go to A+, does that mean I just crush them more?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. I mean, you gotta know these things.
Yeah.
Okay. So just getting ahead is good. That is step one, but getting way ahead is better.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And I think I mentioned this before, but it is a compounding effect. So as you start to implement the recommendations from the report and put more things into place regarding your online presence, they'll start to build off each other. And it's just this compounding effect. So it just kind of starts to, it's like the domino effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think we talked about when done poorly, they're like crabs in a bucket. They're all pulling each other, dragging each other down. But done well, it has the opposite effect. It's helpful crabs, crabs getting out of the bucket.
Yeah. I mean, I think relevant to our audience. The rising tide. Yeah. for gym owners specifically, like it's like how they would probably guide one of their clients. You can work out 6 days a week, but if you're eating like shit, it's gonna like, detract from all the work you're doing in the gym. And, so, it's just, it all has to work together.
Yep. Yep. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we need to share? What about, like, are there, I thought about this earlier, certain types of businesses that this is like more impactful for?
Yeah, this is more impactful for local businesses. So local businesses have to be optimized for their local area in order for people who are doing relevant searches to find them at the top of the results. So like I said, you can have a great website, but if you're a local business with a brick and mortar location and you don't have a Google profile, when people are, voice to texting like gyms near me, you're not going to pop up because Google does not recognize you as a gym in their local area.
Okay.
So that's, extremely important for any local business with a place that people can go into. You definitely need to have local optimization and a local online presence.
Okay. What does it tilt this the playing field in the favor of like higher quality services? So I don't mean like more expensive. So what made me think of this was you sent me a message, something about the consumer's world, right? You said it's a consumer's world where like these platforms are moving the people who consumers like the most up, and the ones who consumers don't like get moved down. So that tells me like if you have a higher quality service, then the platforms want to favor you.
Oh,
so is it even more advantageous for somebody who's like got their good shit?
Yeah. I mean, if you have a viable service or a high quality service and when people come into your business, they are genuinely just satisfied across the board, you have a leg up already. It's just a matter of having that online presence so that you're found when they're searching for your type of service. And, that lends itself to the social proof aspect. So like Google reviews, Facebook reviews, like those are super important because so many consumers are looking at them now. And so for one, it's social proof. It helps the consumers make the decision when they're searching and they find you and they're weighing you against your competition. But two, the more Google reviews you have, the more you keep people on their platform, the more you're using their platform, the more favored you are. So your business gets pushed up in the rankings.
So if you are like of the quality that, the high quality, right? Then like Google wants to advocate for you.
Yeah.
If they can't do it if you don't give them all of the tools that they need, right?
Yep.
Basically,
exactly.
It's our opportunity. You can put Google to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That their ultimate goal is to serve the user. So the person searching for a service or product or thing or information with the best possible option. So the better your business shows up online, the more you're looked at as the best possible option when people are searching, and Google is going to rank in your favor.
And if you really are the best possible option, like in reality, then it's a cycle.
Yep, absolutely.
So if your service sucks, should you avoid it?
I'd be careful about who you ask reviews from.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. What else? Fast movers. So that's something that I paraphrased something that you said. I don't remember the exact way you said it, but basically it was like everybody's dealing with the stuff right now with the paid ads and trying to figure out like how do we make the adjustment so we're not just like banging our head against the wall over here. Like where else do we focus? And they're like the majority of the market are just kind of like fumbling around, but there are some who are like, know exactly where to go, right? And they've been doing it. And that's what the ones I call like the fast movers.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
this is what they're giving their attention to?
Yes. Yeah. I think any fast movers, anybody who's kind of like in the know, it understands that there's been some shift in paid advertising over the last year or so. And like I said before, you have to have the basics. Like you got to have them check marked. Like there's no exceptions anymore. Online is not going anywhere, obviously. Content is not going anywhere. You need to have those things in order. And the sooner you get them in order, the sooner they'll start working in your favor. So like there is no better time than now.
Yep. Yeah, it's like planting a tree, right?
Yeah. And then once you have all of those things in order, go back to paid advertising. Or, I mean, you can run it simultaneously, but it's going to work better for you when your online presence is intact and working on its own organically.
Yep. Yeah. And the big takeaway from all of this is like, don't lose track of the fundamentals. Like once you get this stuff back in order and get everything like, cranking again, like this part of it, the online presence, you just shouldn't ever like let it run such a loose ship with it again.
Nope. It's a system, just like any system in a business. Your online presence is its own sub-marketing system. And if you do it well and you keep it intact and you maintain it, it will continually work for you. Like it'll just be this, recurring thing bringing in new prospects to your business.
Okay. So I like that, the marketing system. So is that something that we can kind of roll up with the assessment that you're talking about, or the 95-point checklist somehow? And like, what can we share about the system?
Well, we could share just the basic components and some of the other elements that go into each thing. I mean, I have, kind of like these ideas in my head and diagrams that I can use to kind of convey what I'm talking about when it comes to this system and how it works together.
Okay. Yeah. So let's make, let's teach whatever we can teach, and, whatever you're willing to put together, we'll share. And if it's something like, obviously we're not going to monopolize your time. We'll just see if it's something that we can provide, like we can just educate. We'll give, whatever we can. And then if there's something that is like paid, that needs to be paid, like that can be between them and you. Like that, I'm not asking you to to do a bunch of work for people for free. So we'll just see kind of what it looks like.
It all goes back to the numbers, and that's why this audit, how I assess it is through basically like a report card, because without those numbers, I could just have somebody just making recommendations for things that I need to maybe fix. But this gives you concrete evidence. It shows you where you are and what's good and what's not good. And so that you know how to fix it and what to fix first. My audit actually, it tells you the highest priority things as well. So say somebody gets this audit and then I give them the recommendations, they will be prioritized by the most impactful. And then, you work your way down the list.
That just that gives me peace to just think about
it. Good.
Yeah. I'm kind of nerd out about scorecarding things and keeping priorities in order, but it's the name of the game, right? That is important stuff. That's what determines how valuable your time ultimately is, how well you do those things. So yeah. Okay. All right. This is awesome. I think we probably need to bring it to a close now, but I'm going to share this and you and I will keep our conversation going. So thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.